At some point, you will encounter an upset or frustrated patient. The first priority in these situations is to de-escalate. Let's take a moment to repeat that, since it's so important. When patients are angry or upset, always make de-escalation your first priority. We're placing emphasis on this because, for some, de-escalation doesn't come naturally. A number of sociological and psychological factors come together to influence how any one person reacts to others' anger. Many of us are familiar with the word triggered, as it relates to how certain actions can essentially flip a switch in us, causing us to react defensively or angrily to others' hostility. We mention this because those who are new to working in any customer service role should ask themselves, do I myself have any triggers which sometimes set me off? If so, the time to acknowledge these triggers is before someone activates them in the clinic. By recognizing our own tendency to be triggered, we can prepare ourselves to handle these situations in the best possible manner. This is actually where role-playing can help. Role-playing exercises are an excellent tool which allow us to rehearse how to best handle difficult situations with patients. For example, take turns with your manager or other colleagues pretending to be an angry patient. Another one of the most important tips for handling angry patients is to not take anger personally. Patient frustration usually has very little to do with us, even though it may feel that way. In the end, every effort should be made to avoid reacting to patient frustrations with hostility of our own, as doing so will only escalate matters, when we should instead be doing everything in our power to de-escalate the situation. Here are a few tips to de-escalate tense situations with patients. First, listen to the patient. Let patients explain the issue without interruption. Next, apologize sincerely. Even if it's not your personal fault, it's okay to express regret on behalf of the practice for the inconvenience the patient is experiencing. And last but not least, propose a solution. Ask what outcome they're seeking and do what you can to make it happen. We can't always provide patients exactly what they're looking for, but at the very least, we can offer alternatives. But for those times in which nothing you do is working, that's when it's time to get the manager involved. Just one final note, we should always make patient satisfaction a priority, but not at the expense of our own safety. If a patient ever expresses direct hostility towards you, especially with threats of violence, don't reply with hostility or threats of your own. Simply end the conversation, walk away, and seek the assistance of your manager or other clinical supervisors. Most practices have established red lines that patients shouldn't cross. Examples include cursing or direct threats of violence towards staff. Find out what those red lines are for your practice and ask your management team for their advice on how to handle situations when those lines are crossed.